What's up, guys? I hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic weekend. Now, today, I need to inform you guys about some stuff. Now, if you've been living under a rock, let me be the first to tell you, congratulations. The last Nintendo Direct for Smash Ultimate has come out. And people are not happy. And not like Diablo Immortal level of, like, salt unhappiness.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a.
But that's an entirely different conversation. The conversation I want to have today is kind of explaining why people are upset, because a lot of people are salty, quote unquote, and people are just being like, oh, you're just salty, no reason to be salty. But I'm going to make a case explaining A, why people are distinctly mad, the few things I can break down from what I've seen and what I feel personally, and B, why it's okay to feel that way. Because let's face it, like, something can be objectively good but still be able to criticize it for things it's done poorly. Ergo, a lot of older movies that are objectively good still have some things that are not good, like racist undertones in them, and we can separate the good and say something is still objectively good while criticizing the bad. And by no means is anyone saying that Smash is going to be a bad game. Smash Ultimate is objectively going to be the best Super Smash Bros. Game of all time from an objective standpoint. And most of the people who are complaining, if you got them to calm down and ask them that question, they would say, oh yeah, this game's still going to be great, I'm still going to get it. But that doesn't mean the critiques that they have are not warranted. So there's a few things that I think it mainly breaks down to, and the first thing I want to discuss is overall showmanship. The structure of the video itself was not great overall. The big bang at the end with the trailer, great. I mean, but Nintendo always does it. They're always like, here's one more thing. They watched a lot of Jackie Chan Adventures as a kid, I'm pretty sure. And this specifically, before I get into it, is really prevalent if you talk to people who only read, like, lists on IGN of the actual stuff revealed instead of watching the video. Those people actually came away with a much better opinion of all the information revealed that's getting added to the game that we now know about, as opposed to people who sat through the 40 minutes and watched the full explanatory video. So I think the showmanship is actually a really big factor of how people are feeling and how, like, they're feeling a little disenfranchised or taken aback by what they've been told. Especially for a set of presentations that have really every single time for Smash hit the ground running and really been awe-strucking people who have watched them. The first thing on this subject is the Pokemon reveal. The last character that we had revealed, aside from Piranha Plant, because he won't be there at launch, the last launch character revealed was Incineroar. And that's cool, but we always get a new Pokemon game in Smash from the newest generation of Pokemon when Smash is revealed. And we knew it was going to be Incineroar or Decidueye likely, and even if it was another Pokemon that wasn't those two, it's like, okay, cool, but we knew we were getting a Pokemon, so it's not really a surprise. Like, that was your big character end, was Incineroar? Like, that's, you know, and you can say Ken too, but they ended on Incineroar. And Ken was also, like, because of Echo Fighters, a super obvious play. Like, super. I agree, there were other obvious plays that weren't made, which we'll get into, but, like, still, that's like a pretty low start, being like, that is the last character we're announcing at launch. It's the one you all guessed. It's the one that kind of had to be there. Next, the amount of time spent on the menu stuff. Like, it's cool, right? All the languages, all the stats, dope. We didn't need to hear about it in the Direct. Like, 70% of players will not touch that stuff. The 30% that do touch that stuff, they don't need you to explain it in a video. They can just go in the options. It's pretty self-explanatory. So the amount of time just going and nitpicking that stuff is like, this doesn't feel like it's for the players. It feels like this is for, like, a boardroom of people, like, or investors more, which is, like, not what we need. I mean, it doesn't move the needle either way. It doesn't make people want to buy it. It doesn't make people not want to buy it. It just encapsulates the complete opposite of Shakespeare's classic phrase, to buy or not to buy. That is the question. Next is the overall dream crushing of characters. Now, with DLC being a big factor of Switch titles and knowing this was going to have DLC, we're like, okay, cool. Even if the character you want to play as from Nintendo or from a close third party was announced on the launch roster, it's like, hey, you know what? Could be there as DLC. That's fine. That makes sense. You can only develop so much at a time. Part of that goes into an argument later also, development times. But with the amount of assist trophies that got announced, dream crushing people, Isaac, Shadow, Dr. Wily, Spring Man, of all things. Like, ARMS wasn't a successful game, but Nintendo has had, with Smash, a history of still propping up their IPs, being like, hey, we made this IP, we made it for a reason, we believe in it, it's important to us, it's a part of our pantheon, part of our history, you know, we put it there. That's how you get people to get back into series like Kid Icarus and stuff like that. They, like most players, never even hear of by the time the kid makes the roster, you know? But they did Spring Man dirty. And with all that, they're just eliminated from the roster. I mean, granted, DLC doesn't really have a rule saying they can't go back and make assist trophies characters, Waluigi. But, like, it feels a lot less likely. And, man, was there a lot of dream crushing with the full assist trophy roster now revealed. But the biggest people have is with Spirits mode. And it's not just the mode itself, as we're going to get into. It's a lot of things the mode kind of represents in its place as well. And before we get to the actual things about Spirits mode that, like, make people mad, for a 40-minute direct, and this being the big standout thing with Spirits mode, and the amount of time they spent in the direct explaining it, I still don't entirely get it, because the last thing, like, at first, it's like, okay, challenge mode to get these spirits, different challenge stages. By the way, personally, I like all these, like, cool, like, challenge mode type of stages with all these unique rules. Totally cool on its own front. It's like, just challenge mode, that's what it is. And then you get to the end, and it's like, spirits is adventure mode. And it's like, so how does that work then with the spirits board and that adventure mode game? Like you spent all this time explaining it and yet explain nothing. So what's going on, Sakurai? But within Spirits mode, specifically from what we know, here are some main issues people seem to have. One is the whole catch-22 systems of the Spirits mode, right? So Spirits mode is a mode that just exists in the Spirits mode gameplay. It doesn't affect Smash. So why do we care about leveling up the guys? Like, aside from, like, powering up our amiibo, why do we care about leveling up these stickers? Is it going to be that hard to do all the challenges? Is that going to affect the progression of unlocking our characters and unlocking our music and stages and stuff like that? Because if so, that's kind of a rub-in. And if it was part of the actual, like, multiplayer Melee Smash games, then, like, it's way too complicated of a system for, like, the younger kids that Nintendo markets for to really fully understand. And they're gonna go to a friend's house and get stomped because they don't understand what the hell is going on with these spirit stickers. Like, the one thing I will say is just absolute bullshit is the puppet fighter, like, minigame with the circle and the gun. That's some mobile game bullshit right there. Like, that serves no purpose aside to force you to spend more hours playing the mode. Like, it serves no game value to the player at all. Like, that's just bad. It's objectively bad. And so that leads into the overall big spirits point. The first, there's two I actually have in total. One is about the mode, one is about what the mode represents, is that Smash is a game players want to play through all. Because it's just this amalgamation of all great Nintendo stuff. They want to experience that all and take it all in. But this is just such a convoluted mode that it's just designed, it seems like, to warp your time around that has no real payoff. There's no story payoff, especially because he's like, this is, because again, we don't know, like, is it a challenge mode? Is it a story mode entirely? We don't entirely know. And even if it's a story mode, it's like, this is how it begins. I'll let you figure out the rest in your head. And it's like, okay, so there's no payoff? Okay. But it just ends up being this convoluted thing that, like, a majority of Smash players did not ask for. And that goes to the second thing, right? Is that this, with all and how intricate this thing is, with all the training zones, and the store, and the board, and also the adventure mode, like, physical board to move your character around, like, with all of that, that's a lot of time and money and development resources went into that. When a majority, you probably polled people who are fans of the community, who play Smash and stuff like that, and who are definitely buying this game, who are pre-ordering this game, which is something you also pushed for, was pre-ordering the game, pre-ordering the DLC pass, right? They probably would have been more happy if you just made 5 more characters and a handful of stages than doing all this. Like, shifting those resources, saving money by not doing all those resources, and just doing something else smaller to add on to the stuff that they actually corely care about in the game. And that's, I feel like, a lot of things, right? It's like, not only is it all the things mentioned before, but it's not what we want, and it took away money and time and resources from the things that Smash players actually care about at the core of Smash. Personally, for me, I walked away with, like, a few core feelings. The first, just feeling like, really, like, what did I just watch? Like, what? I don't understand, especially with how strong all the other presentations had been, as I mentioned. Also, just the Sakurai bias was super real with Kirby surviving the blast. Like, the only one survives the blast, of course, is Kirby, because Sakurai bias for Kirby. And like I said at the top of this thing, it's not going to be a bad game. Like, it is likely going to be objectively the best Smash game ever. But between the two big hits of the resources that went into some of these things, and, like, how we spent all that time and still don't fully grasp the concept of what they are, it leaves a lot of bad taste in players' mouths. And I think it's justified. So I think a lot of the throwing the word salt around is really, you know, not constructive, because there is a legitimate reason to feel very off-put by watching this Nintendo Direct for a good number of reasons. Also, for me personally, one of the biggest things I'm kind of annoyed about is, like, they spent so much time flexing on all the great music that was going to be in this game, and then like how you can listen to it like in your pocket, tabbed out, all that stuff, whatever. Don't have to actually like be playing a game of Smash. You can just listen to the huge ass library. And then this one, it's like, oh yeah, you have to unlock the music. Sure. Thanks, Nintendo. But what are your thoughts or takeaways from this? Do you agree with some of this? Do you disagree? I would love to get, like, exactly how you feel, whether it's good or bad, and why, in the comment section below to further this discussion. At the same time, since we know there are 5 characters coming in the DLC pack, I want you guys to tell me what your top 5 choices for those characters are in the comment section down below. As always, guys, you can find me at The Mighty Mike on all social media, including Twitch, where we stream a good amount of the time. And, of course, always be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'll see you guys later.